Hi, I'm Jonny Moran.
And I'm Hare.
And this is What We're Watching. So Heather had a chance to watch some of this week's programming, and the first thing we're going to talk about is nature.
Yes, the Arctic wolf pack is this week's episode, and it is very beautiful and very cold. This follows wolf packs up in the Arctic. It's a polar desert, which is, I guess, different than a tundra. It's in Ellesmere Island in the northernmost part of Canada, and they follow a few packs of these white wolves around, and you get to see how they interact or interact poorly with each other. And there's also a very rare moment that they caught between two female wolves. One of them either lost her pups or something, and the other one had more pups than she could necessarily feed, so both moms fed the baby.
Wow.
Which is very sweet.
It's amazing watching these shows and thinking, how much time did it take to get this stuff on camera?
Yeah, it is amazing. There's actually some photos in the press room, and one of them is a photographer laying or sitting down and, steadying his camera, and there's a bird on his head. So they have to stay very still.
Catch Nature Wednesday at 8. You also got to watch Freedom Wall.
Yes, Freedom Wall is a local production that we picked up, and it's about the project that Albright Knox did with the wall that goes around the bus maintenance depot. It's a big concrete wall. It's ugly, it's not inviting, and it's in the center of an important neighborhood in our city's history at Michigan Avenue and East Ferry. The really interesting thing, especially about the beginning of the documentary, is that Albright Knox had decided to do this project and chose an artist to do it, and hadn't really thought about the political or community ramifications of just skipping over the actual community there. And they really owned up to it. They pulled the community in at the point where they realized they'd made a mistake, and they really needed the African American community in Buffalo to be much more involved in the process. It was really great to watch the artists figure out how to make their art on this huge concrete canvas that isn't flat. So if you're used to painting on wood or on canvas, this is a very different experience, and that was another beautiful part of this film. And the wonderful thing is, yes, we're playing it on the air, and you can set your DVRs and PVRs for Friday at 10:30 to watch it, but you can also stream it, and that includes our friends in Canada. So visit WNED.org and get the link to go and stream this beautiful documentary.
And now what everybody has been waiting for and talking about endlessly, everybody's very excited for Won't You Be My Neighbor?
Mr. Rogers is someone who loomed large in my childhood. My mother was a early childhood educator and did not believe that children should watch TV, especially under 2. But she did have exceptions for Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers, and only because my father was such a big fan, anything Jim Henson, Mr. Rogers was right there at the top of the list. I haven't seen this documentary yet, but I imagine that it's going to take me back to a time before I was cynical or sarcastic, back to when feelings were felt genuinely and processed with help from Mr. Rogers, and I'm sure that I will need tissues next to me while I'm watching it.
I did get a chance to see it when I was out in theaters. I grew up watching Mr. Rogers, but never really had much nostalgia for him. It was never one of those things where I would, go back and watch old episodes. I think that's kind of part of why this was so effective for me, just this concentrated dose of all of this stuff that I remembered from my childhood and thought, oh, that I do kind of think that way, or that is kind of a philosophy that I've taken with me.
It's amazing how the impact of these kinds of programs have on you through life. And the people, in this era with the Me Too movement, so many people not turning out to be what you think they are. I'm really looking forward to watching this and seeing he really is who we thought he was.
Yeah.
The person we saw on TV is the person he was, and we were so incredibly lucky to have him. You know what I just realized?
You have a
cardigan.
Yeah, change into that.
Here, wait.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
I'll toss it to you.
Oh, got my cardigan on. Now we can talk Mr. Rogers. So I'm really looking forward to revisiting that time in my life before sarcasm and cynicism, back when feelings were real and felt genuinely, and Mr. Rogers helped us to express them.
Do not miss Won't You Be My Neighbor, Saturday at 8 p.m.
And this is the only time you're going to see it on our air. It is only airing this once, Saturday at 8 p.m. Set your DVRs and your PVRs so that you don't miss it.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.